Hello, and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Tuesday, 10 June. I'm your host, Daniel, and today we're going to be talking about China has called for stronger ties with South Korea. Canada is boosting their defence spending to hit NATO's 2% target. And the NATO chief has called for stronger, fairer, and more lethal alliance. So firstly, Chinese President Xi Jinping held a phone call with South Korea's newly elected president on Tuesday, emphasizing the importance of strengthening bilateral ties and promoting regional stability, according to Chinese state media. During the call, Xi called for China and South Korea to jointly safeguard multilateralism and uphold free trade, state news agency reported. He also urged the two countries to inject more certainty into the region and international situations and to elevate their strategic cooperative partnership to a higher level. A healthy, stable, and deepening relationship between the two countries would lead to both regional and global peace, Xi Jinping said, according to the state-run People's Daily Mail. So what? This is highly likely a reaction to the change in US foreign policy, with the US withdrawing from most of their allies and being seen as a more unreliable partner. And since the election of Donald Trump, China is likely, or almost certainly, trying to come in to influence South Korea to move away from their US relationship and look towards more Asian partners, likely China. Yeah, that's clearly what's happening here. Well, to me anyway. It's just like a clear reaction of, Donald Trump's come in. He's come in with all these words, pushing people away, talking about isolationism, and this is the reaction. Places like South Korea are going to start looking for new partners because they don't know if they can rely on the US for the support they need. So yeah, action, reaction. And next, Canada will meet NATO's defence spending threshold of 2% this fiscal year, Prime Minister Mark Carney confirmed on Monday. Carney added that Canada will achieve NATO's target of 2% of gross domestic product 5 years earlier than his Liberal Party had previously planned. The increased spending will allow new submarines, aircraft, ships, armed vehicles, and artillery, as well as new radar, drones, and sensors to monitor the seafloor and the Arctic, purchased and a boost in pay for the armed forces. During his speech, Carney said that the world has become a darker place, meaning that Canada needed to reduce its security dependence on the United States. Since taking office in mid-March, Carney delivered a series of stark warnings about what he terms as the changing nature of US global leadership under President Donald Trump. In a darker, more competitive world, Canadian leadership will be defined not just by the strength of our values, but also by the value of our strength, Carney said. Carney framed the announcement as a move designed to protect Canadians, not to satisfy NATO accountants. In April, NATO announced that 22 of its 32 members had hit the 2% spending target. European countries have ramped up their military budgets since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. So what? While this is, again, much like everything else, is a great boost to global defense and NATO kind of security bubble, it's less important, in my opinion, for European defence, well, from a person living in Europe. So it's good for North American and Canadian defence, but not as important for European defence, though Canada would likely come in, well, it would need to come and support if there was an attack on a NATO country, as they're a NATO member, and that's the deal. Additionally, much like the last story, this is a reaction from what Trump's doing, right? It's people seeing the US pulling back and needing to rely on themselves, so they need to boost defense spending. Though they're going to meet the 2% threshold, NATO is looking at boosting that to 5%, which would be another huge increase and something Canada would likely struggle to meet in the near term. And lastly, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has urged the alliance to bolster its defences in the face of Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine. Wishful thinking will not keep us safe, he said in an address at Chatham House in London. We cannot dream away the danger. Hope is not a strategy, so NATO has to become stronger, fairer, and a more lethal alliance. Rutte has specifically proposed a target of 3.5% of GDP output on military spending and another 1.5% on defence related expenditure, such as roads, bridges, airfields, and seaports. So what? It's a pretty interesting way of breaking down the 5% target. I kind of like it because, you know, military's effectiveness isn't just about, tanks, vehicles, planes, sensors, etc. It's about how you get there. So the bridges, the roads, and stuff matter. Germany kind of displayed this with the autobahn, which they built to transport their military across Germany, and it's now an amazing highway. So yeah, dual use and all that. But yeah, an interesting way of phrasing it. I agree with Rutte that NATO needs to become stronger. It needs to become less reliant on the US. Basically, it needs to European countries need to be able to stand on their own, because if there's a two-theater conflict, the US will likely not be able to provide as much support as NATO has kind of hoped for in the past, which is not ideal, but I don't know. Which, is something, but it's good to know now, and it's good that they can start investing in defense infrastructure. Yeah. Last time I posted about this, someone commented under it to take a look at European defense stocks. I don't know if you're a person looking at investing, and you're definitely check out European defense companies, as they're performing very well due to this boost in European defense spending. But that's not financial advice, so do with it what you will. Thank you for listening to today's Intel Brief. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you again tomorrow. See you.